These villagers have come to the last well that still has water. Kpedzakope is one of 13 communities in the Anglo Basin where salt mining is rife. Now, the mining of that resource is having its toll.
Even drinking water here is hard to come by. Our children can't bath before going to school. Water to wash is now a luxury. We are praying for the rains. Water is a life. I've been up since 3 a.m., but all the wells are empty.
And their wells, they say, is a resource of 7 seas. An India salt mining company which began mining salt in commercial quantities, taking over much of the land previously owned by local artisanal salt miners. Once upon a time, this whole stretch was a thriving lagoon with aquatic life where locals could come and mine salt. But now, it's a pale shadow of its former self, and its place, dry lands and unbearable heat. The company involved in this says it has employed more than 600 people, but community members here say their livelihoods have now been put on the line.
2015, it's 90,000. 90 cedis.
In 2015, we sold a bag of salt for 90 cedis. Business has gone bad now. We sell it for 30 cedis. Even that is on credit. It's all because of the activities of this company. And when we complain, they brutalize us.
Agitations between the town folks and the company has sometimes gone violent. One person was killed recently as a result of the clash. Some still live with gunshot wounds.
Everybody in this community has a portion, has a traditional relationship with that, with a piece of portion in that land. And so, if it is true that mining of salt is governed by Mining Act requires that if you enter into somebody's property for the purpose of mining, but the law also requires for compensations to be paid to the people, to the individuals who owns those traditional lands. The people are not given or were not given compensations. The people are deprived of their daily activities.
Company turned down our request for an interview. Instead, they told us off record, quote, "We won't speak. We can't be judges in our own court. A petition has been sent to the president. We want to wait for his response," unquote. Now people here are waiting for solution. As livelihoods are involved, time not on their side. Ivy Satoji, Joy News, Kpedzakope.
That President Akufo-Addo has spoken out again about the activities of a vigilante group affiliated with the governing New Patriotic Party, Delta Force, whose attack on a court in Kumasi has sparked outrage across the country. The president, who was speaking at the end of a cabinet retreat at Pediasa Lodge in Ebri, said the happenings in Kumasi are systematically being brought under control in the way that it should be. His comments come on the back of numerous calls on him to rein in the group and all others like it. The president also reassured the nation that his government will serve Ghana according to the rule of law.
So we're leaving here in very high spirits. We know the difficulties that have emerged with the events in Kumasi. We believe that those events are systematically being brought under control in the way that they should be. And reassuring the nation that the commitment that we made, that we're going to serve Ghana under conditions of the rule of law. We're not wavering in that commitment. And we believe that the overwhelming majority of the Ghanaian people support us in that commitment. So I want to thank you very much for taking the effort and the trouble to climb this long hill, come and meet with me here. I believe these retreats are going to be a normal and regular feature of my government, because collectively we are determined to deliver. We want the Ghanaian people to know that all those things that we said we were going to do, which we have begun to do, we are determined to do.
Meanwhile, a leading member of the governing New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region is pleading with the courts to deal leniently with members of the Delta Force currently before the court for their involvement in recent violent acts. The pro-NPP group raided a Kumasi Circuit Court and freed 13 of its members who were being prosecuted for their role in an earlier attack on the Regional Security Liaison Officer. Alhaji Kwesi Yeboah, who served as District Chief Executive for Kwabre under President Kufuor, says the judiciary should tamper justice with mercy, claiming the culprits are first-time offenders.
The Delta Force has never behaved like this before. In judicial process, we have something they call first offense. In most cases, in developed countries and other places, first offenders are not chastised so deeply, depending on the mistake. In this issue, nobody got hurt. There was only upheaval here and there, but nobody really got hurt. It will also set a bad precedent if I also appeal to the judicial service to punish them severely, because they are first offenders. You should know that they are Ghanaians, they have rights, and we are going to be dealing with not just one or two people. This is a group of boys. So let us treat them like our own children and our own brothers. If we have seen something before like that from them, I'll be the first to chastise them. But I think from day one, as we know the Delta Force, they've been a very peaceful group. And since we have freedom of association in the Constitution, it's also not right to tell people to speak that disband it, disband it. Nobody can disband it because it is an association of free individuals. There are so many forms of sanctions. They can be talked to. They can be asked to sign a bond. They can be asked to pay a little fine to compensate the individual involved who got hurt or who was victimized. But I don't expect anything so serious like take them to jail as if they are habitual criminals. We will apologize to the powers that be. We will apologize to the personality involved. But I think to make the social and the political scene normal, I'll appeal to the judicial process, especially to the judges who handle this case, to use the stick and the carrot process. You punish the child, but at the same time, you pamper him a little bit. You don't just punish him, because you know that there's what I say, juvenile delinquency. Children misbehave sometimes. So if your child misbehaves and then throw away the soup on the ground in the bedroom or in on the bed, fine, he's being naughty. But you don't take a cutlass and cut the child.
Well, the United Nations has condemned last week's violent attack on the Kumasi court by the NPP's Delta Force, describing the act as reprehensible. The UN is concerned the action has the tendency to tarnish the image of Ghana's democracy. My colleague Raymond Akwa joins me in the studio with a statement from the UN office in Accra. Thank you for joining me, Raymond. What exactly does the statement say?
So the statement is actually from the representative of Secretary General and the UNO officer for West Africa and the Sahel, Mohammed Ibn Chambers, and also the resident coordinator of the UN system, so UNDP, UNEP, all the UN institutions, including UN-AIDS, their coordinator in the person of Christian Evans Clark. They're saying that they follow keenly what has been the case of perpetuated violence after the elections, and that they expect action to be taken, and that they are particularly concerned that the political militants invaded the Kumasi Circuit Court on April 6, 2017. They believe that this will mar, if not fixed, the current standing of Ghana in the sight of the international community. They also think that the image of the country as a model of democracy and the rule of law is likely to be tarnished. They, however, admitted that some action is being taken to investigate and also bring perpetrators to book, which is a good thing. They want this pursued to a logical conclusion, and they want the people who are involved to be arrested, an example set of those who will likely pursue similar paths in future.
And we know the UN is not the only organization that has released a statement. The NCC, that's the National Commission on Civic Education, is also saying something about this. What exactly?
Yes, they also say that they note with great concern recent lawless activities of vigilante groups, and actually they say it's for both NPP and the NDC, and they are calling on them to ban and dissolve existing vigilante groups within their respective parties to avoid any further and future mobocratic activities from such groups.
Thank you very much, Raymond Akwa, my colleague, bringing a statement from the UN and the NCCE condemning recent vigilante attacks. Away from vigilantism, on Monday, Accra and Kumasi both experienced major fire outbreaks each. Let's start with Accra, where the Aveno warehouse of the Ashfilm Limited was razed to the ground by fire. The fire, which started at about 8:45 Monday night, burned down properties running into hundreds of cedis. Latif Idris was there for Joy News.
We are here at the Aveno branch of the Ashfilm warehouse, where fire, we told, started at around 8:45. For the past 30 minutes, firefighters have been on the ground battling the fire with about 2 firefighter tankers, which are, in their own way trying to douse the fire, which has engulfed properties in the warehouse. And we have some of the workers of the company who will talk to us on the subject briefly. You're welcome to join you, sir.
And I say, "Be a cost I say, "Ye do jano." Company.
But Ura Hanu send out near Mount Woman say Janet, machines, phones in the bumper, and some chemicals now, Jumano. And no come to my young cry, them more. Still, I am doing 90 minutes. Okay, and then we say, some foams no chemicals na my janayamo, but I probably that me whom other machine be I will say. We are working, our boys are up there. Then they see that there's some explosion. So the fire started small. Then they rushed down to come and call the supervisors down to come and check what is going on. We went there, we see the fire is just coming up. There's a trailer, like 3-4. We got up there, cut this one, then it explodes. Then we call our members, everybody should come out. The trailer I've seen like 3-4 trailers around that place. But all 3 have caught fire? No. We have the deputy PR of the Ghana National Fire Service, Mr. Biliana Glate, who is going to tell us exactly what his outfit is speaking as initial, if any, cause of the outbreak. Mr. Naglate, you are welcome to join you.
Thank you.
You've been here for how long now?
What have we been here for barely close to an hour now?
Battling the fire, I can see you.
Yeah, exactly.
From all angles, but still the fire is still on, it's raging on. What would you say
could be the cause of this? What actually fires of this nature when you have mixed cargo? I'm talking of flammable substances without other combustible materials in here. Accessibility is also difficult. You can see that there is a wall that is blocking us. We are making sure that we are able to prevent the fire from spreading to other areas. That is all that we are doing.
So that was in Accra, and I've got the Deputy Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Fire Service, Billion Aglate, here with me, and we'll be having a conversation on these outbreaks. But before, in Kumasi, traders at the Roman Hill side of the Central Market are blaming a truck driver for a fire outbreak on Monday morning, which ravaged the bank and other shops in the area. The truck carrying mattresses is said to have come into contact with live electrical cables as the driver made efforts to park for the cargo to be discharged. The fire also affected the Asante Achim Rural Bank. Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
The fire started at about 1 p.m. The three-story building houses traders who deal in paint, leather, mattresses and electrical gadgets. Helpless shop owners and passers-by looked on as the blaze swept through the shops. Here are some of the traders.
We tried to get the mattresses out of the fire, but the flames were too strong. So the fire got to the car, the three-story building, and the Asante Achim Rural Bank. We have lost a lot.
When the fire started, there were some people around. If they had left the scene, the fire could have been controlled easily. I sell mattresses and I have lost everything.
It took a combined team of police and fire personnel to bring the fire under control. Kpedzakope is Ashanti Regional Fire Commander.
The market is always a problem, and as you can see, now we are waiting for the arrival of the fourth pump to fit the base pump so that we can be able to finally put it off. But access is a problem. Access is a big problem.
Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah was also at the scene to console the victims.
The fire service is doing very well, but you know there was metal lining up. So even when they spray the water and the foam, it doesn't touch the fire itself. That is what they are trying to do now.
Traders want authorities to take steps to avert the frequent fire outbreaks within the market enclave.
So like I mentioned, we have Prince Billion Aglate, and forgive my earlier error, he is actually the Public Relations Officer for the Ghana National Fire Service. Thank you so much for joining us. First, let's talk about this. Well, some would think it's coincidence, mattresses, electricity, mattresses, and the one in Accra is being linked probably to heat. Let's talk about that material itself and how susceptible it is to, catching fire.
Yes, thank you. It is true. If you talk of a mattress in itself is being produced with a lot of chemicals. The mattress alone, they have about 17 different chemicals that are mixed up to produce what the final product come out as chemicals, as a foam. But you look at the foam, the nature of the foam, the density of it itself shows highly flammable substance material. So if you have the foam even in the room, just drop a little bit of a heat, or even your phone on the mattress for a very long time could even start the ignition on that. So it is something that we need to handle with care, especially when it is actually bare, that you do not have any rubber covering or any material covering, but it is just the foam there. Because certain temperature can easily start to ignite that level of it. If you look at the Kumasi fire, because of the highly flammable substance like turpentine and all that, that was how the truck that was on fire, just due to radiation, the heat sources, that was how the shop beneath the story building was forced to catch up with the fire. So we need to be careful how we handle those highly flammable substances.
And Mr. Aglate, you said something that I want to get some details on. Charging your phone putting it on your bed. You know, sometimes it gets hot, it gets warm, using your laptop on your bed. That's a recipe for disaster, is it?
Very, very. In the sense that every combustible material has the level at which it will begin burning. We have the ignition temperatures or the ambient temperature at which all those things will start burning. They varies. So with the beddings, with the materials and all other things that we have, some of them because of the silk, because of the cotton, we were talking about the mattress, you know, all those pieces of it could easily reduce their ignition temperature to the barest minimum. So with the phone that you are charging in, the heat that is even produced, and with the radioactive, you know, elements, you know, those ones are all also heat sources. They can easily ignite wherever you live. It happens severally that just that people say, oh, they are charging, they even drop their phones on their armchairs and all that, only to come back to see fire in their homes. So those things we need to put them on. At least if it is a phone that you are charging, then it should be on a table where you don't have any highly combustible material like linen or rubber or cloth that or those things in them. So we also advise that even your laptop should not be charged while it's onto your bed. It is even wrong for people to do that.
Wow, interesting. Before we talk about the statistics for the first quarter of this year in terms of fire outbreaks, this morning my colleague Patricia Gasu went back to the ash foam warehouse. Let's take a look at what she gathered.
I'm currently at ash foam, and as I was told, the curing room was rather raised down by fire yesterday. And I have the marketing communications manager here with me, Mr. Yao Ampim Dako. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam.
Were you here yesterday when the incident happened?
Yes, immediately we had a fire outbreak. We all rushed down here, you know, to help with trying to put it down we in various ways, yeah.
Okay, so what caused it?
At this stage, it's really difficult to ascertain. So the fire service, which is the main actor of this, are in charge of it, and they have even accorded the place, and they have started the investigations. As at now, it will be really, really difficult to come out with what exactly happened, you know, on the day. Yeah.
So has the National Fire Service said anything to you so far?
No, so far no. Last night, in fact, we left here early this morning. You know, when they left one of their, you know, cars here just to see to it that, you know, after fire, nothing comes up. But all they said to us that the investigation is going to carry on early morning. And in fact, just as we're speaking, you know, they've started, you know, trying to, you know, ascertain what exactly, you know, occurred. And very soon, as I indicated to you earlier on, we're going to have our press conference, and whatever comes out there, we will let the public know.
Okay, so I can see the workers all over. I believe my cameraman can pan and then take a shot of them. Is the some affected? What's going to happen to them?
No, they are not affected at all. Apparently, we are working full time today. It shows you that the fire came, but just a smaller section of unit of the factory that, you know, was affected. So the bulk of the factory, when you look at the production line, when you look at all the other departments where the foam mattresses are made, everywhere is intact, and we are starting work. You can see rather they are enthusiastic, because it would have been the other story if everything had been gutted down.
Okay, so can you put an amount to what have been destroyed so far?
Well, it is again I would want to also say that it is still a difficult thing to do now. But you know, we can say this, that fire happened this way, and then there are three, you know, I can say areas that you can look at. We look at the product that is burnt off, which we're going to look at how much by the time of the investigation. We look at the factory, because some part of the factory has been raised down, and then we look at even the opportunity cost, because it definitely is going to distort a section of our production. And then also you see in the mindset of people, they might think that, well, fire came out, ash foam is gone down, and then we are not going to, you know, they might find it even, you know, believing to come and do business with us. But us as a company, we are assuring them, and it is evident that we are working. It is evident that we have our production, you know, on course. We have our distribution ready. So anybody who has any supplies will be supplied today and the days ahead.
Okay, so I have Mr. Same Ahene here with me, and he was actually here when the fire started. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
So can you tell me exactly what happened?
Yeah, when I got in here, the fire had already started. Yeah, so I had to help my colleagues. But a lot of guys had come from their various homes when they got the message, and they were in here helping. So we just have to help first. So that's what we're basically doing.
Okay, so that was around what time?
I got in here around 8:30.
Okay, do you suspect any foul play?
No, for now, no.
Do you feel your job is being threatened?
My job? No. Our show is a solid company, and provision has been made for everything. So, my job is intact.
So this was here in Accra, but my other colleague in Kumasi, Mohammed Nuruddin, he's been to Kumasi Central Market and joins us on the telephone for updates. Hello, Nuruddin, what can you report a day after this incident?
This week, earlier, the MP for the area, Eugene Boatenki, the divisional police, the Malaysia divisional police commander, and then the Metro Fire commander were all here to ascertain the level of damage. And then we spoke to them, and the divisional commander says they are going to look for the driver of the truck and prosecute him. And he also advised people in the metropolis to abide by the laws of the country so that such incidences would not happen in the near future. The fire commander also complained about the fact that they were not able to get the seat of the fire, where exactly the fire came from. They were not able to. They found it very difficult getting to the seat of the fire. And so he also advised residents to always open up when their personnel come to educate them on issues on fire. The MP also, sympathized with the traders and asked them to be very careful next time so that such things will not happen.
All right, Nuruddin, you talk of prosecution, and I'm just wondering because what we get is that this gentleman was just trying to offload some mattresses and his car caught fire. What is his wrong in that?
Beatrice, I didn't get what you said.
I'm saying that you mentioned that they're looking for the driver to prosecute him, the driver of the truck that is believed to have started the fire. And I'm saying that the impression we get is that he had just packed to offload some mattresses. So what is wrong in that? Why the element of prosecution here?
According to the police commander, one of their officers warned him not to use, not to use that particular lane because there was the chances of him getting in touch with the live cable was very high. So they asked him to stop so that they could know what they would do to avoid such an instance. But the driver would not listen to them, and so they think that the driver actually deliberately did that. And so after the incident, he ran away, and the police is still looking for him to prosecute him. Earlier, I came to the police station, the Malaysia Divisional Headquarters, and the owner of the vehicle was here, and he wouldn't speak to us, but he claimed it was an accident. And so the police commander was very annoyed with him because the information they have from their personnel at the ground was that the driver didn't listen to the warning of the police officer.
Okay, Mohammed Nuruddin, let's talk about those who lost their property, the bank and the other shops that were affected. Have we heard from the owners? What have they been saying?
Well, those who are greatly affected wouldn't speak to us. We've been trying to speak to them, but they wouldn't speak to us. We wanted to find out whether they have insured their goods, but they will not speak. But those who actually sit on the pavement told me that they have not insured their goods, and so some of them came to the police station to make a complaint to the Divisional Police Command. We wanted to ask them exactly what were their concerns, but they are telling us that they would want to wait till they see the police commander so that they will tell them exactly what happened at the central market. But the impression we are getting is that because the driver refused to listen to the police officer, maybe they are trying to complain to the police so that they would take the driver on.
All right, thank you very much for those updates. My colleague Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin coming to us from Kumasi. Some updates on that fire incident at the Kumasi Central Market. Still with me in studio is DO1 and Prince Billy Anaglati, and he's the PRO of the Ghana Fire Service. So let's talk about investigations. The accusation always is that the fire service will tell you we are investigating the cause, but nobody really gets to know. With these two instances in Kumasi, we are hearing that it's being linked to this truck, but in Accra, we don't know yet what could have caused the fire.
Yes, exactly. With the Kumasi one, it was a straightforward act, so that one we can exactly talk about it. But with what happened in the industrial area yesterday, since yesterday, some of us left there this dawn 2 a.m. Some are still there, just trying to investigate and see what actually might have caused it. From here, I'm also driving straight to the place and to continue and then assist those that are already there. If you look at the curing center, or the room where this fire was confined and actually extinguished, you realize there was no even electrical installations within the area where it is, just because the kick of the mattresses just after the production is the area where they keep them for curing. That is, after they brought them out, we were made to understand that the temperature after they are out of the machine will go high to a certain level before it goes down on it again.
So but the curing place is for it to cool down?
To cool down,
okay.
Yes. To cool down before it is packed to the storage facility. But if you look at the way the place is designed, the structure where they have even sealed the whole place, it will be difficult for air to circulate around those areas. But looking at some of the heat system, I don't want to preempt anything, but I think the heat might also play a role, but investigation will be able to bring it
All right, let's talk about statistics. The first quarter of this year, are we doing well in managing fires in the country? Well,
the first quarter, yes. If you look at it in isolation, it is alarming that the first quarter of this year we have 1,455 fire outbreaks, of which half of this number is by domestic fires. So domestic fires always outnumber the rest of the nature of fires that we have. But if you compare the 1,455 to last year, the same period, where we have a reduction in that, then we know that yes, we are doing something. But this will be a worrying situation to you and everybody, because the fire service are putting several measures to ensure that at least, if not to eradicate some of these fires within this period, we should not be talking about 1,000 fire outbreaks. But that is what we have. So what is wrong? What is actually not, are we not doing right that we should still have these fires? Yes, my investigation again points to the public that there is absolutely nothing that I keep saying that the fire service will do to prevent the fires if the public that fail to complement the effort of the fire service. Why we are here today, we are only talking about fires here. I might see few things that I would say could be a very good recipe for fire breaks within your premises, but I will walk out of this place. But you are here 24/7 until you are able to correct those things, to rectify those anomalies that within your place. Yes, the fires will occur. So the public that are at the hotspots, in their bedrooms, in their offices, in their studio or wherever, they should also cultivate the fire safety culture. They should appreciate the importance of fire safety and ensure that they are committed to doing the right thing at the right time. Let's monitor the activities of others that are working with us, wherever we find ourselves. And I believe that some of these fires will definitely be prevented.
All right. Finally, before you leave, the heat in the city is really getting intense. And a lot of people have tried to attribute that to the fire at Aveno, but like you said, we should not preempt. What should people do in this season as it gets really hot, so that we don't do the normal things we do and assume that it will all go well for us just because we are in a season where it's really hot, and so some of these things could be happening often?
It is all about good housekeeping. Good housekeeping simply means putting in measures to prevent fires. You are talking about the heat, the level of the heat that we have in. All combustible material have their ignition temperature at which they burn. So if you are talking of the heat sources getting into a certain level that will ignite any combustible material, and now we have the natural heat, then it means that the sources of heat that we introduce to other combustible material, we should be careful in doing what we do with all that. It will interest you to know that, previously, if you have been even plucking your iron, and then you have some sparks or some noise in there, meaning that there is a heat system in, and then you never had fire. Because of the heat we have within, that alone would assist in the fire within it, because already there is a heat within the environment that can easily cause it. So with the period that we have, with sort of the level of heat that individual we are feeling it, this is the time that we should all be careful the way we use other heat sources.
Thank you very much. That is DO1 Prince Billy Anaglate offering some advice even as the weather gets really hot. We've picked up some cues for him. Please do not charge your phones on your beds or your laptops because, like we picked up yesterday, mattresses are highly combustible. You're watching Joy News Desk with me, Bernice Abubaid. We'll bring you more stories after this.